So the finale for Hawkeye Season 1, or the series in general, premiered on Wednesday. I didn't have enough time to do a review / rant on Thursday, so I'm doing it today. I think today's Christmas, or it's still Christmas Eve. I recorded this on Christmas Eve. This intro is recorded on Christmas Eve. So happy Christmas Eve to everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone that's watching it on Christmas. I like to stop and take the time to talk about Hawkeye Season 1, or the series in general. Please note that everything that I will say in this video is just my very own opinion, and you're free to comment down below your opinion on the Hawkeye series in general. Also, please note that this video is split into two halves. The first half is a walkthrough breakdown / rant of the finale episode, and the second half is a full-on review of the overall season / series. With that being said, please don't forget to check out the Twitter that's going to pop up on your screen right now, and also that Marvel playlist up above. And with that being said, like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Let's get right into our episode breakdown. So we kick off the episode with the reveal of my guy, my buddy, my homie, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Ladies and gentlemen, I love Kingpin. Daredevil is my favorite live-action TV show of all time. Daredevil is my favorite Marvel character, and the Kingpin, seeing him inside of this series, just seeing Vincent D'Onofrio walk out with the cane and the white tuxedo was just amazing to me. He has a sit down with Eleanor, and from there we catch up with Kate and Clint, and Kate is very eager to go confront her mother. Clint calls her his partner, and for me, I kind of felt like, okay, that's fine. It wasn't that earned, but I'm okay with it. I'll accept it. And then Maya has her confrontation with Kingpin, and then she kind of pieces everything together with how Kingpin killed her father. So I like the fact that she kind of pieces it together through conversations with Kazi and also Kingpin. And then she just asks for time off so then she can go pack her things and just leave and get out of this business. So through dialogue with Kazi, we infer that Kingpin has been in power for some time now. He does say inside of the episode he needs to remind people who this city belongs to. So my guess is that he's been in power for a very hot minute. Just the Avengers, he's off their radar because he's more street level. And I think that's perfectly okay. And for a show like this, that's more street level, that's more low key, I have no problems with that. Kate and Clint then prepare for battle by making trick arrows. And I love the fact that we get to see him making trick arrows. I love the fact that we get to see him injured and him, icing himself or him putting bandages on himself. It gives a nice little verisimilitude to the entirety of the show that these things aren't cheap. He doesn't just pull these arrows out of his butt. He has to actually handcraft and make these trick arrows. He has to heal. He has to put bandages over his scars a certain type of way. At the same time, since this is the longest MCU Disney Plus Marvel show episode, not a lot of things important really happen. Most of it is just filler, especially for the show Hawkeye. Kate then tells Clint about how much of an impact that he had on her during the Battle of New York and why she wants to get inside of this superhero business, and that he inspired her to get inside of the business. Now, while at the party, we see Jack is bailed out of jail. He did get arrested last episode. And while Kazi is closely sniping the window, he's in another building and he's sniping the window trying to, kill Clint. Yelena arrives to the party to kill Clint as well. Kate confronts her mother, and in an attempt to snipe Clint, he sees the red dot on the glass and manages to avoid the bullet. The whole party is ruined. A lot of havoc is wreaking around, and we have a fun little scene in the elevator with Kate and Yelena. I love these two. Kate is like, "Stop making me like you," and then Yelena's like, I don't try, if you like me, that's just on you. I love that because Yelena is just so likable. She's just so cute. I love her. Then a fight breaks out with Clint and Kazi, which Clint easily should have won that fight, but it felt like for the majority of the fight he was struggling, and I don't get why this show constantly makes Clint struggle against bad guys like Kazi or people like Yelena. Yelena I can kind of see, but the tracksuits and Kazi, I'm pretty sure Clint can just do away with them easily. This guy took down the Yakuza. Okay, he was a one-man show, took down the Accuser in Avengers Endgame. I'm pretty sure he could take down some people in tracksuits. You remember from the trailer, he says, "This is some Christmas." That's when he breaks the window, jumps out of it, and he tries to slide down the rope until he falls into the big Christmas tree, the big New York Christmas tree. Kate then manages to cut him out of the tree using trick arrows, and finally the trick arrows and the new suit is put on display. We get to see Clint in his new purple suit. I am okay with it. I'm fine with the suit. I wish we could see a little bit more of it, but I'm fine with it. I'm ready to see more of it in the future if they bring back Clint Barton for more MCU projects. I really want to see more of this suit. The two archers begin to handle business, essentially killing the tracksuits, and then Kate goes to confront her mom while Yelena confronts Clint. Now, before Yelena becomes an antagonist to Clint, Kazi and Clint have a little standoff until Echo comes into play and confronts Kazi. Kingpin then catches up to Eleanor, breaks the door off of her car, and he tries to get her to come with him until Kate just shows up and kind of stops everything. She shoots an arrow at him right in his chest, and it does nothing. He just takes it, and he throws it out, and then Eleanor drives into him and hits him through the window, and he's still not dead. So then after this, Kate and Kingpin starts to have a fight. And Kingpin gives Kate the business. I mean, he's throwing her all around the entire store. And I thought that was great. He breaks the arrows. Everything that she throws at him, he just takes it. Until he is thwarted by the trick arrows and the nickel trick that Clint taught Kate. So in a last attempt, Clint does the Black Widow whistle from the film and talks of Nat. And that's basically what kind of gets Yelena to calm down, because he whistles, but it's so important to her. And I think that works. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that works. And also the thing with Kazi and Echo. Kazi dies. I don't really care about this character, so I really didn't feel anything. So then after this, Eleanor goes to jail. Kate makes sure Eleanor gets arrested, goes to jail. She tries to reason with Kate, saying, "You're really going to put your mom in jail for Christmas?" Kate's basically saying, "Yeah, I am." And her mom gets arrested right there on Christmas Eve. Then after this, Maya confronts Kingpin at the end of the fight. And it's kind of like a play on what happened inside of the comics. She points the gun at his face, and bam, we don't see him die, but supposedly I think he died. I hope he didn't, because that really annoyed me. It really annoyed me to know that he was only in this one episode, didn't really do much, and they wasted him by shooting him in the face. I really wish that they're not going that route. I really wish that they're going a different route with Kingpin instead of them killing him off the first appearance we get of him. Clint finally makes it home for Christmas, and he also gives his wife Laura the watch, the Rolex watch. She turns it over, and it has a SHIELD symbol on it. So we find out that she used to be a SHIELD agent, and maybe she might have been the character of Mockingbird. A lot of people said it's confirmed, oh, she's Mockingbird. I don't know, because they haven't really confirmed that, but she might be the character of Mockingbird, and I think that's a very cool reference. After this, he burns the Ronin gi with Kate. They start juggling around the names of what they should name Kate, and Clint comes up with the name Hawkeye, but before he can say the name, the title card for Hawkeye shows up, so it's like, okay, yeah, he's trying to call her Hawkeye now. Post-credit scene is Rogers the Musical. I had a blast with that post-credit scene. I didn't really find that many problems with it. I know a lot of people did, but in my opinion, I didn't really find that many problems with the Rogers the Musical thing. I think it would have worked better as like a full hour-long musical or something like that, or like a Disney Plus special, and we could have gotten something with Kingpin, or we could have gotten something a little bit more with Clint, or like teasing season 2 if they were going to make a season 2. I really believe that the post-credit scene, it's fine that we had Rogers the Musical, and if they wanted to do that, we should have had a mid-credit scene. I think a mid-credit scene would have been great too. But this is how the episode ends. This is it for the rant for the finale of Hawkeye. Comment down below, what did you think of the finale for Hawkeye? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I really think that it was kind of a letdown that every episode was just setting up a new plot line, and then this episode had to juggle all of those plot lines and try to resolve all of them, and they just didn't resolve them in a satisfying way for me. But with that being said, let's move right into the good of our review. The good thing that comes to mind here is that this is a low-key, small-scale MCU project. And I think as of right now, with the Eternals and the Celestials and Arsham the Judge coming to judge Earth and the multiverse going on, these big events in the MCU movies and also WandaVision with the TV shows and Loki breaking the multiverse, it's nice to have something that's smaller without the weight of the MCU on its shoulders. Kate Bishop as a character is fun. She's lively, and frankly, thanks to Haley Steinfeld's performance, she's likable to me. Because when she first came on the scene in the first 2 episodes, her character to me, when they focused on her character, I didn't really find her that compelling. She was a rich girl who saw the events of the first Avengers, who did find refuge in one of the Avengers. But I never saw her as likable of a character until she started becoming a supporting role to Clint. And that's when I started really liking her. I always thought that she was fine, but I never thought I liked that character and I want to see more of that character. Now I do. She felt like an actual fan of Clint because she gets so excited when he's in her house and she wants him to sign her bow. I thought all of that was nice and it added a nice touch to her character. As well as she's this character that found inspiration and refuge, like I said, in the hero that is Hawkeye. And I think that works because while some people may find inspiration and refuge in heroes like Captain America or Iron Man, the big ones like Hulk and Thor, the fact that one person in the city would see Clint, Hawkeye, just in that moment, they would see Hawkeye as their hero and as their favorite, I thought it seemed very realistic that she would. She sees all of this destruction going around and all she sees is a guy with a bow and arrow standing up for New York City, fighting these aliens back. Speaking of Clint, when the show finally focused on Clint's guilt from Avengers Endgame and his struggle to escape his past as Ronin, I found it intriguing and right in line with the character we were left with at the end of Avengers Endgame. I thought every time when they brought up the conversation of Ronin and how Black Widow killed the Ronin, or just how much effect this Ronin persona had over Clint, I think it shined more as the show that I wanted. It shined more as the show that I was expecting. When they focused on the Ronin stuff, his past with Ronin, and then they brought in the character of Echo to give it a little bit more of a personal tie to the Ronin character, and also teasing someone bigger like the Kingpin, I thought all of that worked as an underground story dealing with the past of Hawkeye. I also did really enjoy some of the action inside of the show. It's not the best action that we've seen in the MCU. Definitely not the best action that we've seen inside of the MCU Disney Plus shows. But it is some great hand-to-hand combat action in there. I really did like the opening sequence of episode 3. That's probably my favorite action sequence. And also, I gotta say, Yelena's return was pretty great. I still love Yelena. She's still my favorite character from the Black Widow film. And I think out of this entire show, she might have taken over the spot as my favorite character. I think she worked greatly inside of this series. And since this is Christmas Eve, I gotta say the Christmas setting, it was a nice touch, and especially because this is the second MCU project that has had a Christmas setting, Iron Man 3 being the first, and I think it's a refreshing tone. I think this setting could have worked. They could have used this setting to their advantage. An Archer show set at Christmas, I think that could have worked exceptionally. But we have some negatives, so let's move right on to the mixed. And the mixed thing that comes to mind here is that I wanted more of Yelena. Going inside of the show, especially from the post-credit scene of Black Widow, you expected them to have Yelena be on the hunt for Clint. Because of his past as Ronin, she is on the hunt for him. And that he's now hunted and he's an archer, I thought that could have been a cool thing. And also rope in the idea of Kate Bishop coming in there, and then adding in the setting of Christmas. All of that, in my opinion, that could have worked. I wanted more of Yelena instead of her showing up in episode 4, I think it was, episode 4, having her inside of episode 5 in just that beginning scene, and then having her as an antagonistic character inside of episode 6. Personally, I wanted more from that. And the reason why she's actually in the good category is mainly because the whole issue of her wanting to kill Clint, it can be solved in just a conversation. And that's what they do inside of the series. That's why I wanted to see more of Yelena in the mixed category, because I can go good on how they treated her character, or I can go pretty negatively about how I really wanted to see more and wanted a more emphasis on Yelena hunting Clint. Also, the Christmas theme wasn't as festive to me, and also it didn't really put that much of a Christmas spirit in me. It felt like an afterthought. In the background, you can see Christmas trees, you can see snow and everything like that. You can hear Christmas music playing. It didn't put me in the Christmas spirit. And even Iron Man 3 doesn't even put me that much in the Christmas spirit. So, personally, maybe comic book movies or TV set at Christmas don't get me in the Christmas spirit as much. Maybe it's just because of this year or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe it's because of the... And the bad thing that comes to mind here is that the plot is just strange. Every episode leading up to the finale has set up to a new plot line. This whole entire show felt unneeded. And yeah, that's a good thing that it's a small scale show that doesn't really need the weight of the MCU on its shoulders, that's just trying to tell a fun story or even a influential story to the character of Clint. I would have liked that if I knew what the plot was about. Like, every episode introduced a new plot with the Ronin suit, and then Echo, and then now we got to deal with Kingpin. Now we also have to deal with Kate Bishop's mother, and then we're roping in all of these different plot lines with the Tracksuit Mafia, and also the watch that belonged to Hawkeye's wife. It felt like they was just trying to rope in every plot line, and they didn't have the episodes for it. A 6-episode season can work. Look at Loki. Look at Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Every episode. Episode 1 and 2, we were introducing the character of Kate Bishop. Then episode 3, it finally felt like it was ramping up. Episode 4, finally felt like it was ramping up. Episode 5, finally felt like it was ramping up. Oh wait, the next week, it's the finale. It felt like their runtime per episode, and also how many episodes they were given for this season, didn't warrant the story that they were trying to tell, or even the story that they wrote. I'm pretty sure this story can be told in this 6-episode mark. They just couldn't do it with them having to introduce so many things and then also introduce more plot lines, introducing more characters. This season could have benefited from more episodes. The whole show was building up to something. I know it was. I just don't know what it was. I can't even recall the build-up. The episodes felt a little bit like a chore because it felt like there wasn't a story here. Things just happens. And I wish that wasn't the case going inside of this show, because I was very much anticipating it. In conclusion, Hawkeye's story and plot is slow starting out and very close to non-existent. Many characters I just didn't really care for, like Echo, that character of Echo. I was fine with her character. I'm just not excited for a TV show now because they didn't do a lot to make me care for that character. And the overall tone of the show wasn't what I was expecting. Yeah, I was fine with the Christmas tone, but I wanted something a little bit more serious and in line with the endgame Hawkeye. But once the series focused on Clint and his past with the Ronin character and also his family and him trying to get back home for Christmas, it worked for me. But again, the show just didn't really come together, unfortunately, due to a lack of episodes and a lack of urgency. Hawkeye, for me, has to be a B- and a 7.9 out of 10. And I would say it's probably my least favorite of the MCU Disney Plus TV shows. And this is one that you can skip. I'm sorry to say it, but yeah, you can skip this one. Alright guys, that is it for the review slash rant. Please know that everything that I did say in this video is just my very own opinion, and you are free to comment down below. What did you think of Hawkeye, the series as a whole, as well as the finale? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Comment all of that down below. Please don't forget to check out that Twitter that's going to pop up on your screen right now. And also don't forget to check out that Marvel playlist. That link is always in the description. And with that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Merry Christmas.